Hello and welcome back to another We Ourselves video. Today I want to talk about the Echo show in the trailer and what it means for female representation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, before I begin, I just want to say that I am going to watch the Echo show. The trailer looks really exciting. Marvel knew what to do to get people interested in the show because they highlighted Kingpin all the way through the trailer. The focus was on showing his brutality and his love for Maya, aka Echo. So we're finally going to see the MCU's version of Kingpin. And this is exciting because I love the Netflix version of Kingpin and I've been a fan of Vincent D'Onofrio since his days on Law & Order: Criminal Intent. Marvel knew that a lot of people really weren't excited about Echo or really didn't ask for this show. So they really put their foot in it, so to speak, with this trailer. Now, I was going to check out the show anyway because, as I said before, I watched all the MCU TV shows and movies that have come out. So that being said, I just want to state that my comments aren't to take away from what Echo means in terms of representation. First of all, she's a woman of color, Native American, so you have that checkbox. She's got a prosthetic leg when she was young, and we saw that in flashbacks in the Hawkeye show. So that's representation also, and then she's deaf. And personally, I've had experience with that because I've worked at a prominent school for the deaf and hard of hearing. I even learned ASL, and having worked in the communications department, I came to understand their desire for representation and the struggle to get the Americans with Disabilities Act passed. The Echo character worked for me in the Hawkeye show, and I really loved how they included aspects of deaf culture. So all of that is great, and it looks like the show could be fantastic. And I say could because we already have another Marvel director belittling the comic book source material. Gizmodo has an article about the Echo showrunner saying she won't have her lame comic book powers. Now, I'm not certain about this, but back when Netflix did their Marvel shows, did the showrunners or producers badmouth the comic book source material? I can't recall, but I have the sense they didn't do this. So we'll see what happens with the Echo series. That being said, this video is not trying to take anything away from what this new show will mean or represent. Because whether the Echo show is successful or not, that's besides the bigger takeaway here. And that is Marvel's willingness and ability to continue the disparity of character treatment for its black heroes. In a recent reaction to the Loki Season 2 episodes, one reviewer, who also happens to be a comic book fan and expert, commented that in viewing the recent episodes, he was struck by how well Marvel can write characters when they want to do so. That reality made him sad when he reflected on all the other MCU properties that weren't written as well. Because clearly, as he said, Marvel writers have the ability to do good characterization. And so that comparison and realization just made him a little sad. And I have to say that I 100% agreed with his sentiments. For me, the Echo show is a perfect example of that reality. If you can do a trailer, if Marvel can do a trailer that looks this good, and if the show can live up to what's promised when it comes to a female character, and particularly a character that has a lot of representation riding on her shoulders, then what's the excuse for not doing similar shows for the black female heroes? When I did my Empower video, I pointed out that the MCU women, including some women of color, were getting their own shows and movies. The Echo show is now a reality. It's coming out. We had Ms. Marvel, and that show dived into her heritage and the life of being a child of immigrants to the United States. And then, of course, you had WandaVision, and Black Widow belatedly got her movie, as well as Captain Marvel, who is now set to appear in her second movie within the week, the movie entitled The Marvels. So all these female characters, white and otherwise, are getting shows and or movies, but the black female characters aren't getting anything. And this is one of the things I pointed out again in my Empower video. And to see how well this trailer looks, and if the show really hits, it's just gonna point up the disparity in the representation even more. Now, I've had some people comment to me, well, why do you have to see yourselves on screen? Now, as silly as that question is, the simple fact is everyone wants to see themselves represented on screen, even the ones that are complaining about it now. But that's not even the question here. The characters are already in the MCU. My complaint is not that we don't have these characters, they just aren't getting the same treatment that other characters of color, in this case women of color, are getting. Again, the better this Echo show is, the more damning it is that Marvel has this huge disparity in the treatment between the women of color who they have brought in to play these characters. There's no excuse. Where's the Wakanda show, which probably would have highlighted the women and culture of Wakanda? Where the hell is that show? Captain Monica Rambeau should have her own show. I've said before, there's no reason why you can't have a show where her and Agent Woo hook up to investigate things, and they have Darcy as their person in the chair. They had great on-screen chemistry, and they could have their own series. But instead of a show announcement, there's this persistent rumor that Captain Rambeau is going to be left on the other side of the galaxy, or even in another galaxy at the end of the Marvel's movie. To me, it's just amazing that Marvel can really put all this effort in the representation for other women of color and the MCU women in general, but when it comes to the powerful black women of the MCU, just like the black men of the MCU, there's a sudden lack of ability or interest in even doing anything for these characters so that they have deeper representation. And given the recent repeated news about the Blade movie, it's just another example of how, for some reason, Marvel can't find a way to make it work.
Don't misunderstand me, sir.
But don't get my intentions wrong here. This video isn't meant to beg Marvel for equal quality of representation. I'm merely documenting the disparity. Having worked in the corporate and government side of things, I found that when I experienced or witnessed disparity in the workplace, the best thing that I could do was to pull out the old pen and paper and start documenting. So that's what I and other YouTube creators are doing when it comes to Marvel. We are documenting the disparity. We all have to ask a basic question. Where are the shows for these other female characters? Some who have been in the MCU far longer than Miss Marvel and Echo, because it's silly and it makes no sense, particularly when you can see what they can do with a character like Echo, who's practically brand new to the MCU. So anyway, those are my comments for this episode. Like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next video.